rich people do not try to look rich, typically. Really wealthy people do not care about looking rich. Broke people care about looking rich.
Why?
It's a signal, right? At a certain point, when you don't have money, you probably don't have a lot of confidence. You probably have a little bit more imposter syndrome. Once you start making a lot of money, there's actually a lot of downside to being rich, which is people want it. People want handouts. The IRS is coming out of your pocket. And so I think at a certain point, you start changing your game. And it becomes a lot more important, your competence level, how you execute, than just what you wear or show. So care a lot more about being rich than looking rich is a big difference. And the other thing is, rich people trade in knowledge. They typically do not ask for favors. They give favors because they know that there is a price to asking for things.
Yeah.
And broke people do the opposite. They try to take, ask
Constantly.
too many favors.
Yeah.
And I did this wrong too. When you're young, you're like, hey, can I work for you?
Yeah.
And you could just pay me a little bit.
And teach me everything you know. And, yeah.
Exactly.
Just like,
And you're
can I just be by you all day long and watch you and just like, I just want to shadow you for months.
Right.
And take up all your time and resources.
Exactly.
Please.
And that's what I'd ask. I would ask ridiculous things like that. And then as I got wealthier, I realized, time's the only thing we can't make more of. And I'm wasting a bunch of people's time. And that's not the move. So how can I be a gift giver of time and not a taker of time? And I don't think poor people think that way.
Wow.
And I get it because it's constrained, right? Like Chris and I, back in the day, we lived in DC for a period, and we didn't realize that we bought a place, and DC is kind of like block by block in some areas. So we lived in the hood. Like it was like not a nice part of town at all. What was fascinating though, is that we would talk to some of the people who had been longtime, residents. And, there was one young lady and, she had her father was like in his 80s probably, and he had never left the District of Columbia, never been on a plane, never been on a train. And she was really interesting too, because a lot of people would sit outside and they'd want to hang out and they'd want to talk for a long time. And we were just busy. We didn't have that much time. And so she kind of picked up on that and was like, hey, can I walk you back to and from the gym? Like when you walk to and back from the gym, can we go?
There's a neighbor.
There's a neighbor, young girl. She wanted to go to college. She would have been the first one in her family to go to college. It was really interesting because she would just ask us questions as we were on the go. And lo and behold, got into Howard, figured out where she wanted to go next and what she wanted to do. But I think that was the difference. They would waste a lot of time sitting outside, kind of with this idea that time was abundant. And she was the opposite. She was like, I know you don't have time. Can I take up a little bit of it while I walk?
Interesting.
Yeah.